I've got here with me Jason Campbell. He's a senior fellow at the Middle East Institute, but he's also been the Secretary of Defence's country director for Afghanistan and the NATO Special Operations Analyst. So Jason, how would it actually work if the United States was going to try and go in and get this highly enriched uranium?
Well, John, this would be an extremely complex operation and come with a very high degree of risk. Fundamentally, you'd want to be near certain as to where the location of the highly enriched uranium is. And in some scenarios, you might be dealing with more than one location, which just exponentially increases the risk because you're now talking about multiple operations, either simultaneously or in very quick succession.
Okay, so where might those locations be?
Well, there are three primary candidates. The first is Isfahan, the second is Natanz, and the third is Fordo. We know from credible open source reporting that the Iranians likely moved their highly enriched uranium to this facility in Isfahan prior to last year's 12-day war.
Okay, so let's take that just to make things a little bit easier for our military planners. If it's Isfahan, what are they going to have to do to go and get it?
Right. Well, the first thing you do before you insert any ground forces would be a series of preemptive strikes against any Iranian military assets in the immediate area, and also try to limit the degree, if not completely blind the Iranians to this oncoming operation. In an ideal world, you'd have a broader set of strikes around the country to keep Iran's attention off this primary objective. After that, because we know Isfahan was damaged during the 12-day war last year, you're talking about limited accessibility. So that means you have to put in a cordon with ground forces numbering roughly 1,000 or so to keep the area safe. These ground forces are still going to be very vulnerable, so you're going to need near constant air support flying over them to help protect them and have eyes on what's going on in their immediate area. And then things get more complicated.
Okay, so let's assume that all of that's in place. How do they get more complicated? What comes next?
That's right. Well, we know from reporting that the three known entrances to the Isfahan facility were damaged in last year's 12-day war and have since been backfilled by the Iranians with soil to make breaching them even more difficult. So now you have to go outside of the military realm and bring in the type of equipment and personnel who can start to dig out a path for the special operations forces trained in breaching these types of facilities to even get in.
So just to check, we're talking about getting in contractors with specialized equipment and telling them you're going to be digging, possibly under fire, possibly for some time, for some quite radioactive stuff.
Absolutely, and not potentially. You are going to be under fire and under heavy threat while you're in this location.
Okay, so they've dug, then presumably a specialized US team has gone in once they've cleared the pathway to actually get the uranium. What's the timescale for this?
It's very difficult to say. The U.S. does have special operators that are trained in how to breach some of these facilities. They are trained in how to detect and handle this sensitive material. But what they're going to find when they get down there is too difficult to say. There's maybe damage from last year's bombing. There likely will be some booby traps. So you're talking not hours, you're talking maybe more than a day to get down and locate it, never mind bring it out to the surface.
And the overall operation, possibly weeks?
Absolutely. This is not a quick raid or a quick strike. This is an indeterminate amount of time, likely more than a week.
Should they do it, given all of the above?
Considering all these factors, it's very difficult to see this being a feasible option. To flip it around, if I were an IRGC commander, I've prepared for this scenario, and I would look at this as a potential early birthday present because they know exactly what to do and they will strike at this hard.